Feeling my way through the darkness, guided by a beating heart.
Hi, good morning. I'm on the Innovation Labs team for Lowe's, the home improvement retailer. And this is how we kind of view the world. So in terms of change and time, we see for most of recent history, most companies could focus on improving their product or service little bit by little bit and maintain a competitive advantage. And that was working. But now what we've seen is, of course, there's these legendary tales now, Blockbuster and Netflix, Kodak and Instagram, where people just didn't see it coming. Really smart people working really hard on their business, but not thinking about really what was coming next. And we kind of think of this as the linear path to doom. And what happens as a part of this is that when you're kind of in this first part of the curve, when a new technology has come out, it never lives up to the hype. So we think a lot about virtual reality in the 80s. You could go have a VR experience at an arcade. You'd probably throw up, but it was there and you could try it. But over time, people keep working on these technologies and keep improving, even while no one else is really believing in it. And eventually they hit this tipping point where it really takes off. And so now, of course, everyone's interested in virtual reality. A lot of the key manufacturers coming out with devices. Samsung Gear, a hot one this Christmas. So what we want to do is be working in this period of disruptive opportunity so that when that does take off, we've already got the first-hand experience on what this means to our customers, how to deliver this in an experience, what the technology limitations are, and what the possibilities are. And that's essentially why Lowe's created our team. But there's a lot of problems that I'm sure you guys face as well as innovators in your company of getting a big organization to change and do and think differently. So Lowe's is exactly what you think it is. It's an old school, conservative hardware retailer. And so we face this problem of getting action. So you can put a lot of numbers about market opportunity in front of executives, and they might think it's great, and they believe what we're saying, but then nothing would ever happen. And so what we started using was a methodology called science fiction prototyping. And in this, we've built a network of professional science fiction writers and comic book illustrators. And we work with them to provide all of our market research and trend data to create true stories with characters, narrative arc, conflict, and resolution about possible scenarios for the future. And the intent is not to say that we can accurately predict everything that's going to happen, but to get a very tangible experience in front of our executives that helps them say, yes, we want to build that future, and if we don't, then we think we're in trouble. So the first story that we came up with was about a couple going through a home renovation. It's a really painful process for most people. And in this story, they go to Lowe's, and Lowe's has this new visualization technology in a vision center. And they can see their room at the store before they spend any money on it. They can go home and view those products in their home. And this story we presented about 2 weeks before the Oculus Rift Kickstarter launch. So nobody was even really thinking about VR at the time. But it was something that our executives said, yes, we believe in this, and we want you guys to go make that happen. So what we do is we take the technology at the place it is at that time and build it as quickly as possible and get it out in front of people in the world. So this box that you see here was an augmented reality solution that we put in 2 stores in Toronto for 6 months. We also have a large project going on to scan in all of our products as a 3D product catalog. So 3D content is a big driver of what we're doing as well. And customers could come in and design a bathroom on an iPad and walk into this box and view it at scale through the iPad and move things around. And the problem we're trying to solve is visualization and helping people get over that fear that stops a lot of projects in their tracks before they even ever start. So we had that in Canada, got really great feedback, and some things that we expected and some things we didn't. So customers really wanted kitchens. Bathroom wasn't enough. They really expected it to be an immersive experience. Viewing it through the iPad was a step forward, but still a little bit uncomfortable. And also they wanted it to be a very shareable take-home experience. So we've just started rolling out the second phase of the Holo Room, which is that fully immersive virtual reality experience. So you can come in, design for kitchen and bath, view it with a dedicated, trained staff who understands the technology as well as design in an Oculus Rift. We also have a partnership with Google for Lowe's branded Google Cardboard devices that pulls through that take-home opportunity. So whenever a customer finishes a room design, it's automatically exported to YouTube 360. And so we're taking advantage of that new capability. So anyone could view it on their computer, but you could also go into a store where we're dispensing these for free out of vending machines and take that home with you. So what we want to understand is, do people want that to be a guided experience? Do they want help? Would they rather spend time at home learning about this on their own? And this is, I think, the furthest project we have along in understanding how we want to iterate and grow and evolve the project. So this is rolling out to about 20 stores here in the US and between now and February. The second project that we have put out in the world is Oshbot. And Oshbot is the first autonomous retail service robot. So Oshbot has been working in a store in San Jose, an Orchard Supply hardware store, which is one of our chains, for over a year now. And Oshbot does a lot of things really well that people can't do. So Oshbot has LiDAR sensors similar to the Google self-driving car and knows the location of every product at any given point in the store. It maps the store every night, something that most people probably can't do. Oshbot speaks up to 5 languages, so especially in the Bay Area where we're testing this. There's all kinds of different languages that come through the door every day, and home improvement's hard enough if you can't talk to someone and get help in your native language. And it also has this 3D depth sensing camera on top where you can bring in that random screw or part that you don't know what it is and help get identified with Oshbot. That matches back to that same 3D product catalog that we're building for the Hollow Room. So we see a lot of these technologies that are accelerating right now starting to converge, which is one of the things that's really exciting to us. So we see that in a given 6-week period, we have about 1,000 searches on Oshbot. We do a lot of neuroscience testing where people are wearing EEG headsets to get the unconscious reaction to the things that we're testing. We found some interesting things there, like women actually like it more than men. Maybe they're more comfortable asking for help, I don't know. Teenage boys, as soon as we put it in the store, went and started swearing at it, so we had to go through and clean up the dictionary. So there's some interesting things that happen when you put technology out in the world and try to figure out how it's gonna work. And so we're continuing to build out the features of this robot. It's also doing inventory scanning, which is a huge payoff for a retailer. And this has been, really something that people have kind of given it its own personality and really gotten really excited about. Then the third area that we're doing a lot of work in right now is additive manufacturing or 3D printing. So we also had a test of this service for 3D scanning and 3D printing at an Orchard Supply hardware store in Mountain View for 6 months. And we offered customers 2 services here. The first was they could come in and choose from one of 4 archetypal home objects, a doorknob, a cabinet pole, a light switch plate, and an address plate. And they could make modifications, they could engrave text, change the design, change the shape and size, and order that in a variety of materials. You could order it in gold, you could print it in plastic, and everything in between. But we also offered a service for 3D scanning, where people could bring in their own objects and have them scanned by a trained specialist. And for free, we would give them that digital file. And then for the services that we offered to take that further, where you could fix and repair things. So one of the most interesting use cases we've seen come in is a man who had a pre-war antique French bicycle that had a broken clip. So he was able to bring that in, and we could scan it and repair the digital file and print that out in metal to allow him to fix his bike and something that's been out of production for decades. We also saw a lot of artists bringing in their work who wanted to preserve the digital file before they sent it off to a gallery. We had game developers come in who would create their characters in clay and get those scanned so that they could take the 3D models and make animations with them and test out their games. So where we expected there to be a lot of personalization, and that was definitely a part of it, what we've really seen is that for us, the promise of this technology is around these functional cases and around this idea of preserving our things and moving things from physical to digital and back and forth. We also saw a lot of contractors come in who might have something like a light switch plate that's just slightly off of standard in the home that they're working in, where we could scan them in and help them make that change. So we've also just torn that one down and are working on the next iteration of that service. In the meantime, we've also started to make other partnerships in this space. So one of our key partners is an organization called Singularity University. They're at NASA Ames Research Center in Mountain View, California. And Singularity is a really special place where they're bringing together startups and corporate innovation teams, and their intended focus is on solving some of the world's grand global challenges. And so Made in Space is a company that came through Singularity University with the intention of helping humanity manufacture off the planet Earth. And so we got connected with them and realized that we had a lot of the same problems. When you're in space and you need a tool, you kind of need it right then, and you don't know what it's going to be, but you need it then and when you need it for a specific case. Well, and that's a problem that a lot of our customers have too. And so we've partnered with them to send the first hardware store to space. So this This actual printer right here will be going to the space station early next year, where it will be used to print Lowe's Cobalt branded tools for astronauts. But more importantly, it'll be used to print things that we don't know yet what that might be. So if they'd had a 3D printer on Apollo 13, they would have solved that problem in a couple of hours. And even today, there's spacewalks and things that are going on. And in recent memory, there was an astronaut on a spacewalk, and a critical power supply went down. And this is a life or death situation. And she's fixing it with a toothbrush and duct tape. So these are the types of things where the Maiden Space team basically just emails a file to space, and we can solve problems in minutes or hours that are critical for life. And so we're really excited about this partnership, and this is definitely really cool. But what's more exciting for us about this is taking these space technologies and deliberately looking at how we can develop them on Earth. So if you think about the GPS chip, artificial heart valves, Tang, these are all innovations that were first built for space that we've seen have had a significant impact on Earth. And so there's a lot of other things coming out of this partnership that we haven't announced yet that we'll be deliberately looking for these types of opportunities. So 3 takeaways for this room. One is that narrative-driven innovation is really working for us. So for a team of storytellers, we're telling a story externally that's helping shift a perception of Lowe's. But more importantly, internally, we're really seeing significant organizational change driven by story. And so people are moving from skepticism to celebration and understanding what we want. And when we present to our executive team, they're asking for more comic books. I never really thought that would be my job, or that I would be walking around trying to meet science fiction writers, but it's working. The second is that uncommon partners are really critical to our success. So I don't think that you probably would expect Lowe's to be working with a robotics startup, or NASA, or some of the groups that we're working with, but it's by finding these unexpected partnerships that we're finding the best opportunities for our business. And then third is take advantage of the real world and getting feedback. So the stuff that we put out there, a lot of times it's ugly, and we're embarrassed by it a few weeks or a few months after it's out there. But that's the only way we're getting this real feedback and learning the things that we could never figure out in a lab type environment. And then the final thing I would leave you with is change is exponential, and that's an awesome opportunity. And if Lowe's can make changes, then any organization can, because we're definitely facing all the same problems. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for those? See one over here. That's right. Got a mic coming somewhere.
Wow, super amazing and innovative. I had no idea that Lowe's was doing all of these really cool things.
Thanks.
With the augmented reality stuff in the stores, have you gone to the point, or do you plan to actually give people augmented reality headsets to put on in the store to experience these things from sort of that first-person perspective?
So right now we do have the Oculus Rift headset in some stores. So the way that we're testing that is in each market that we're in. One store has the full Oculus experience with a trained technician, and then there's supporting stores in the market with the vending machines to see if we can support each other that way. So yeah, we do have the Oculus right now, and we're looking at other technologies as well.
I'm only buying my home improvement now from Lowe's.
Yes. There you go. All right, any other questions? We have about 30 more seconds. All right, we got one right here. Got a mic coming. Oops, sorry.
Can you explain how you get your budgeting dollars for innovation? A lot of companies have a lot of trouble investing in something when they don't know what that return is going to be.
Yeah, so we're part of our business development organization, which at Lowe's is really everything that's not US big box stores. So all of our international work, kind of emerging business models, and then the things that we're working on kind of fall under that bucket. But in terms of ROI, we've been pretty demanding not to be judged that way. So the first thing that we want to establish is, can we even make this technology work? And the second thing is, do people care about it at all? And from there, then we figure out what should that scale look like? How does this fit strategically with what we're trying to do? So that's how we've been able to get a lot of leeway to try some things out and be able to test these things out on a small scale and learn quickly.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great question. All right, so we're out of time, unfortunately. Thank you so much, Amanda. That was a great session. All right, thanks.